Genesis 26 verse 1. Now there was a famine in the land. A famine arises during Isaac's time, similar to Abraham's era. Genesis 26 verse 2. The Lord appeared to Isaac and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land where I tell you to live." God instructs Isaac to stay in Gerar. Genesis 26 verse 3. Stay in this land for a while, and I will be with you and will bless you. God promises to bless Isaac. Genesis 26 verse 4. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. God renews the Abrahamic covenant with Isaac. Genesis 26 verse 5. Because Abraham obeyed me and did everything I required of him. God highlights Abraham's obedience. Genesis 26 verse 6. So Isaac stayed in Gerar. Isaac follows God's command and remains in the region. Genesis 26 verse 7. When the men of that place asked him about his wife, he said, "She is my sister." Isaac repeats Abraham's deception about Rebekah. Genesis 26 verse 8. Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked down from a window and saw Isaac caressing his wife Rebekah. Abimelech realizes Rebekah is Isaac's wife. Genesis 26 verse 9. Abimelech summoned Isaac and said, "She is really your wife. Why did you say, 'She is my sister'?" Abimelech confronts Isaac. Genesis 26 verse 10. What is this you have done to us? Abimelech rebukes Isaac for potentially bringing guilt upon the Philistines. Genesis 26 verse 11. So Abimelech gave orders to all the people. Anyone who harms this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Abimelech protects Isaac and Rebekah. Genesis 26 verse 12. Isaac planted crops in that land, and the same year reaped 100-fold. God blesses Isaac's efforts abundantly. Genesis 26 verse 13. The man became rich, and his wealth continued to grow until he became very wealthy. Isaac prospers greatly. Genesis 26 verse 14. He had so many flocks and herds and servants that the Philistines envied him. Isaac's wealth causes envy. Genesis 26 verse 15. So all the wells that his father's servants had dug, the Philistines stopped up, filling them with earth. The Philistines sabotage Isaac's water supply. Genesis 26 verse 16. Then Abimelech said to Isaac, "Move away from us. You have become too powerful for us." Isaac is asked to leave Gerar. Genesis 26 verse 17. So Isaac moved away and encamped in the valley of Gerar, where he settled. Isaac relocates to a nearby valley. Genesis 26 verse 18. Isaac reopened the wells that had been dug in the time of his father Abraham. Isaac restores his father's wells. Genesis 26 verse 19. Isaac's servants dug in the valley and discovered a well of fresh water there. New sources of water are found. Genesis 26 verse 20. But the herders of Gerar quarreled with those of Isaac and said, "The water is ours." Conflict arises over the new well. Genesis 26 verse 21. Then they dug another well, but they quarreled over that one also. Isaac faces continued disputes. Genesis 26 verse 22. He moved on from there and dug another well, and no one quarreled over it. Isaac finally finds peace at a well he names Rehoboth. Genesis 26 verse 23. From there he went up to Beersheba. Isaac relocates to Beersheba. Genesis 26 verse 24. That night the Lord appeared to him and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid." God reassures Isaac of his presence. Genesis 26 verse 25. Isaac built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord. Isaac establishes worship in Beersheba. Genesis 26 verse 26. Meanwhile, Abimelech had come to him from Gerar. Abimelech visits Isaac to make peace. Genesis 26 verse 27. Isaac asked them, "Why have you come to me, since you were hostile to me and sent me away?" Isaac questions their motives. Genesis 26 verse 28. They answered, "We saw clearly that the Lord was with you. Let us make a treaty with you." Abimelech seeks an alliance. Genesis 26 verse 29. You will do us no harm, just as we did not harm you. Abimelech proposes a mutual non-aggression pact. Genesis 26 verse 30. Isaac then made a feast for them, and they ate and drank. Isaac accepts the treaty and celebrates with a feast. Genesis 26 verse 31. Early the next morning the men swore an oath to each other. The treaty is formalized. Genesis 26 verse 32. That day Isaac's servants came and told him about the well they had dug. Isaac's servants find more water. Genesis 26 verse 33. He called it Sheba, and to this day the name of the town has been Beersheba. Beersheba is named, meaning well of the oath. Genesis 26 verse 34, when Esau was 40 years old. He married Judith, daughter of Beeri the Hittite. Esau marries outside the family line. Genesis 26 verse 35. They were a source of grief to Isaac and Rebekah. Esau's marriages bring sorrow to his parents.